And I see that you actually have your first police chaplain, and she's a woman of color.
Absolutely, yes. And
Tell
we're
me about
excited about Nancy. She's been a community leader. She's been a community volunteer, a community servant. Someone that doesn't just pass on the work to other people. She jumps in, rolls up her sleeves, and and really has the whole community in mind when she's doing her work. And so I'm excited.
You're listening to 88.1 FM WYGG in Asbury Park.
you
I
here
got
on
some.
and I don't if we oh it's 8:15. The studio, which is back in Asbury Park, I should explain it. I am here in my my horrible office. I did put pictures up of it so people know what I'm talking about. Um, Jean, are we going? Explain who you're saying these lovely things about. And it's Nancy Jackson Johnson. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So she's our, the new chaplain, our police chief, Anthony Glario, and his leadership team developed this program to make sure that our officers, have an outlet, right? They're human too. They experience mental health just like nurses and just like, cashiers at ShopRite, right? They experience mental health the same way that other humans do. And so it's exciting that they developed this program and that they, and even if they're not people of faith, Nancy's there to just be that vessel, to be that resource for them, to be able to vent and to be able to ask questions, to be able to get uh you know directed to services if needed. And so I think it's a great addition to the township.
Do the police have a review committee? I mean, I should say the residents have a review committee now, like they were trying to do in Asbury Park. I'm not sure what the status of that is now. Um,
So we do have a citizen board, um, and they've been very active. Nancy actually is on that committee as well, and they obviously do things that's related to the police department. So one of the things that they were charged with prior to Chief Willario becoming our chief, they were charged with identifying a new chief, right? And so they had to vote to see who they would recommend to the township committee for the position of chief. And um, they do other things as well. They look into complaints and all of those types of things as well. But um, that's all volunteer. That's people that have been given back to the community. And like I said, Nancy was on. Still a part of that board. Excuse me. She's still on that committee, and now she's our police chaplain as well. So I don't see anything getting worse, right? I see just us going up from here and things getting better, and the relationship, um, between the community and the police is certainly getting better with with our bike program, our foot program, and then obviously with the police having the chaplain, they're able to get a lot of things off their chest as well. And so I think it's good for the entire community, not just the police department.
well, I think that might have been our second interview. Maybe I had people on to talk about the police review board and where it was going.
Mhm.
It's quite a while now ago.
Yes, yes,
It was a whole move ago. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. Of course, I was doing the podcast then because we had lost our station. Our
Right.
station had been taken off the air by the FCC. Um, and so they had gone back up in a few months, but we never got the show back together again. So that was '06. So we've been off the air for like 18 years. But the podcasts, were a good way of keeping track of what was going on and hearing from.
Right.
And it was great to have you on there. Um, and I wanted to get a rough feeling now for it because I think you could be one of those model communities in your situation. Yeah. as far as color, the color, you know, mix, and
Right.
especially in a governing position. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And Bonnie Watson certainly led another trend there, right? Um,
Yeah,
taking the Black community to the House of Representatives.
absolutely. Yes.
So do you can you explain a little bit about what you do for Bonnie?
Yes, absolutely. So currently I have a couple different roles with the Congresswoman. I am her scheduler, and a special
Excellent. Yeah,
advisor.
important
Yes.
responsibility.
Yes, I'm her full-time scheduler. I handle both her New Jersey and her DC schedules. Um, and then I'm also her political director on the campaign side. So I've got my work cut out for me.
Wow.
But it's exciting to work for someone who, has a track record of empowering people, lifting people up, and really making sure that she's doing the best that she can do to make sure that people have, what they need, and that they don't fall below, that floor that should be, set for everyone, and that everyone has the same opportunities, and um the same equity, etc.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's odd because I'm down here on the outskirts of Trenton,
Hmm.
8 minutes from the capital. So
Okay.
about as close as I want to be. No, I thought that people would be sending me down there to maybe give a speech, in the committee, in one of the committees or something like that. But
Hmm.
or I'm available and yes. Um, but so what's going? I mean, I'm trying not to say anything about Biden Trump, the big election. Um, yeah, but that's
That's okay. I'll comment on it. So here's
okay.
what I'll say.
Good.
Um, I think the debate last night, I believe that our president had a mediocre performance. Um, but I also think that that comes with age. Um, and I put it like this: just because someone comes across as the strongest candidate does not always mean that they're the strongest candidate, right? Let's look at last night's debate, right? donald,
Good
Donald Trump
point.
did very well, right? I mean, I got to be honest, he did very well in the debate. He stayed on message, except the message was a bunch of lies.
Well,
And so
it occurred to me, and he said something about this today, that it's a lot easier when you're lying because
yeah,
you just make up another lie, and if
right,
you don't have to be accurate because it's a lie.
right. And the reality is that I think he and he's not a dumb guy, right? Well, that's debatable too, but
No, he's done pretty
uh
well with his lies, I guess.
yeah, and so he understands that the average person is not going to go Google to see if he's telling the truth, right? And so what I've seen last night was a guy that just stood up there and lie after lie after lie, versus a guy that in my opinion has been very productive, that has gotten us through the pandemic, and bringing us towards the end of inflation. And I say towards the end because we're not quite there yet. um but in him, I seen a guy that just could not present the information well enough. And quite frankly, that should not disqualify him from the from the contest. I woke up this morning to a lot of Democrats panicking. While I said, listen, it was a horrible performance, but you know what? If you look at what he was saying, the content of what he presented, stuff is getting done. People are
Why?
being lifted up. And guess what? We're not throwing money at the billionaires, and while the middle and lower and working class people suffer.
Right.
And so that's something that I can get behind. It's not perfect, but guess what? Life isn't perfect. The world is not perfect. Our Congress is obviously not perfect, right? And so I think it was, we all have a bad day at work, right? And I think it was a bad day at work, but also, again, we got to look at his age too. And fortunately or unfortunately, this is the candidate that we have right now. And, I'm going to stand behind him 100% because I've already seen the damage that Donald Trump can do to this country, the damage that he can do to our democracy, and the damage that he can do to the working poor, the middle class, the lower class, and people like single moms. It's distracting, it's disturbing, it it's crazy. And we just need to open our eyes and make sure that whether we like Joe Biden or not, make sure that we're giving them a level playing field, and we're looking at all of the information and making an educated decision, not just a popular decision because this guy has a better performance. It's not a comedy show, it's
Yes, it's
politics.
not a comedy show. You're right. Yeah, definitely.
So, that's kind of where we're at. I think we all know where we're at. I think Joe Biden understands what's going on. But one thing we can't control, Maureen, is how old we get. Because if we could, I'd still be 23, right?
Well,
But
I'd rather have somebody too old than too stupid.
exactly, and my point exactly. And so, I don't care. The guy can have 3 oxygen tanks hooked up to him. He's getting my vote on November the 4th, November the 6th, this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, there's so many things that I just can't get over, can't fathom about um the few people that have actually did damage to the Capitol and to the Capitol Police. And I still can't get over January 6th. It's amazing. Um, what and You're only speaking for yourself. We should make that clear. You're not speaking for Bonnie Watson.
Right. Well, she might agree, but but I'm not though
I'd
right
love to
now.
hear from her. She'd like to be on.
Okay, maybe we can set that up.
I have been trying for years, actually.
Really? Okay.
Saying was Bonnie Watson is my representative here in Ewing,
Right. Right.
as
Yes.
well as she was before in Asbury Park,
Hmm.
and she still is. If I was there, if I could clone myself, which we're trying to do, right, John? Definitely. Um,
Everybody wants her in every district. She really is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So how much do you get involved with other politicians? I'm segueing over to my safe territory here,
Uh,
Asbury Park. You
right.
know, I've gotten wind, and I think I'm ready to make a prediction. I don't have, I must say, as a disclaimer here, I did not see any numbers, any totals for the petitions. Candidates have to get signatures from people
Right.
consider them a good candidate for whatever the position is they're trying to get. And they do. The forces that be, the leadership does, the hired people for this, clerks, um take it very seriously, and they check out all of those signatures and make sure that the people are really who they say they are. So in Asbury Park, I understand that John Lafredo, who was a former council member, um, he was very active behind the scenes um, in blocking the rent control law that did become law, uh, but not in the form that the activists wanted.
Hmm.
A lot had changed, and I'm still kind of trying to catch up with, what about this? Did they at least get this part? But he's running with Garrett Giberson, whose name is famous in Asbury Park because his dad was with the Public Works Department, and
Okay.
yes, excuse me, he was in a basically top position there.
Okay.
Um, and Garrett's been very good. He's very very civic minded, I would say. He does. I forget what his position is with the fire department now, but he was kind of a spokesman for them for a while, and
Hmm.
So, he remains local. And Jill Potter, who I really don't know much about. I believe that she was a monitor for Nextdoor, the chat board, and she might still be doing that. I'm not sure. But she's running with them as well. So, and those would be three gay people, which they already have. Um, the deputy mayor is a gay person. She and her wife, who have a baby together, and so it's very modern, very up to date in Asbury Park. But it would be interesting if John Lafredo was to get back in. He always wanted to be mayor, so maybe that's
Hmm.
what he's trying for. So I asked you the question and then I gave you an answer, but I didn't.
Oh no, it's fun. I
Um,
mean, yeah, I've heard the name Jill Potter, but I don't know. And I've heard of John Lafredo. I haven't heard of the other gentleman. Um,
yeah,
and
Garrett Guyverson. No.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard of him, but I
Um,
mean, I mean, I wish him the best of luck. But what I would say is, I don't support anybody that stands in the way of rent control, because that means that you don't understand that people that are in the lower class, the middle class, the working poor, that they need a hand up sometimes. That means that you don't understand that people are struggling. That means that you don't understand that people are choosing over whether they put gas in their gas tank or if they pay the damn light bill. And so people like that stand in the way of things like rent control, that stand in the way of things like raising the minimum wage, that stand in the way of lifting, folks up that have struggled for so long. I just can't support you. And quite frankly, might work against you. Rent control is super important, especially in 2024. We see that we're in the midst of a housing crisis. We have, businesses buying up houses left and right and raising the prices two to $300,000. And people are being squeezed in the economy that we're in, coming out of a reset. I mean, coming out of a pandemic, and now, with inflation, eggs being $6 in some stores. You really have to have a
that's
lot of
housing
nerve.
too. It's not legit. And
Right.
people are going around angry all the time.
Right. And it's like we're getting nickel and dimed, and there's people just taking the sides of these big corporations and these big developers.
And they
It's
pay
just
them lots of
disgusting.
money to do that, right?
Right. It's
People have
disgusting though.
farming people.
Yeah, it's how do we'll never have that sense of community again, that everybody talks so much about. Oh, we need to get back to this, get back to that, but then turn around and not support the things that the community needs. I mean, and this is everybody. This isn't just Spanish or black people. These are white people, these are Asian people. Everybody is suffering in some way. And we see what's happening with the school system. The school system is losing funding, year after year. And
Yes.
and it's like, we know that education is directly connected to the money that we make as we get into our careers and et cetera. And so it seems like the system is just setting folks up for failure. But I always say, all politics are local. So when you have a local person running to get in office that has been against something like rent control, that's something that rings the alarm. We have to pay attention to that and make sure that that person has nowhere, has no influence, number one, or no seat at the table, because we already know what they stand for and the lack of what they would do for us.
Yeah. I want to ask you, maybe this is too inside baseball, but um, are you aware of this property management policy that forbids or just blocks people who don't have check stubs to prove their employment? So in other words, if you're pulling down your savings, um, you would not be considered, eligible to fill out even an application for an apartment. Have you heard
Right.
of that?
Yes, and I know, I mean, that needs to change. I know that there were some folks on the state level working on things like changing changing the way down payments are done. So currently, there is Currently, if you want to rent an apartment, let's say the apartment is $2,500 a month, you
Mhm.
have to put up, a month and a half security, and then the first month's rent, right? And so that's what 25 plus 12, that's like 32 and change. And then let's say the first month's rent, so we're already talking close to $6,000.
Right. Right.
This is an economy, Maureen, where folks don't have that there's people that don't have $6 laying around, let alone $6,000.
I don't know where they're getting it from. And there was just an article about oh, it was about Sackman Enterprises. They have the apartments across the way on Cookman, not on the same
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Steinbach's, but the old Steinbach building,
Hmm.
but on the other side, that he got a 25% rent increase because he had some sort of an allowance.
See,
Uh,
right, and it's like, where's the allowance for the regular residents? Where's the allowance for the people that wake up every morning and go bust their behinds,
yeah,
working 10 and 12-hour days, and then have to go pick up the kids, and then have to make dinner, and then have to do it all again the next day? Where's the relief for them, Maureen?
where is it exactly? And,
It's constantly the big developers and these people that are just throwing money around, and this political game, and people think it's funny. It's not funny. There's nothing funny about homelessness. There's nothing funny about children with no leadership in their lives, because they're working 3 and 4 jobs, so they can't raise their child because they have to work to make sure that the child has a roof over their head. Where's the relief for them?
exactly.
No, instead we get a state budget that's being cut $20 million, cutting funding for things like women's shelters, cutting funding for things like Planned Parenthood, cutting funding for food pantries. What are we doing?
Yes. I love it. I knew I'd get your passions up. That's great. That's what we need.
It's
Oh yeah.
crazy to me. And it's like, but then when you challenge the status quo, folks don't like you, or they want to try to spend a bunch of money to get rid of you, or they want to put out a bunch of lies on you. Or in my last primary, they drug me through the mud on the fact that, quote unquote, I hate the police. Okay, I don't hate the police, but I hate when the police kill us. I hate when the police beat the hell out of us. I hate when the police treat us like crap when it's not warranted. That's what I don't like. I
Right.
don't like I don't like systems with no accountability. That's what I don't like.
And we should repeat here for anybody who just tuned in that you're someone who goes way back in working with police. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean,
what,
I've been a
right after high
special.
school?
Yes, yes. I became a class one special in 2005. I became a full-time police dispatcher in 2005. I've done the work. I've
That
walked the
was in
walk. I've
Freehold.
seen, yes, but I've also seen, some things that shouldn't happen, right? Um,
Some things,
there's, say it again.
some things, what? That
I,
shouldn't.
I said, I've also seen some things that should not happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, being on both sides of this as a black man, number one, I mean, I'm a black man before a police dispatcher or a class one officer, right? Or a council person. Like, you see my skin before you see my title, right? And so these are real life experiences. These are like, I'm not just making this up, right? And so these are things that just needed to be addressed. Some things still need to be addressed. But right now, my biggest thing is that we're in trouble. We're in trouble, and it's not the
Oh yeah.
system that's in trouble. It's regular people that are in trouble,
Well,
Maureen.
and you take the average couple growing old in their house, um, and finally deciding, Pop doesn't want to get up there and clean those leaf gutters again, and um, we can't keep this place up on our own and do what we want to do. So they
Hmm.
want to go into an apartment,
Yeah,
and
or they leave the state totally.
yeah, and they won't consider what you made on your investment.
Mm-mm.
They think, oh boy, the price of homes is right here. Let's sell, and and then they're told they can't even get an application in for an apartment. That
Yeah.
is so wrong for so many reasons, and I haven't heard people talking about this on any great level. There was one article in the real estate section of the Times because it's in New York too. They've got
Right.
people asking for 9 months in advance on the rent in
Mm-hmm.
New York rents. But it's just outrageous. And I just recently heard that this is the private banks that are
Right. But
buying up property
I
companies.
absolutely. And let me just say that I feel that it's not talked about on purpose. It's not talked about because they know that it's an issue. But when they talk about it, Maureen,
Yeah.
it starts to get talked about when the people start living in the woods behind ShopRite. It starts to get talked about when they start living in the woods behind Walmart. It gets talked about when they're living in vacant houses that have burned down, and they're living in basements of those homes. That's when we talk about it. But you know what? It's too little too late.
That's
It's
right.
too little too late. We need to make sure that we are meeting people where they are on the front end of things and not on the back end. Because on the back end, as we've seen, as we're dealing with now in Neptune Township, it is too late. People are in the woods. People are,
Yes, I
not eating. They're using the restroom outside. They are, essentially living like animals. And now everybody wants to jump and talk about it and act like it's an issue. No, it was an issue a long time ago when they needed to repair their vehicle to get to work, and they couldn't do that. And so now they couldn't get to work, which means they can't make money. And so now they've lost their apartment or their house.
they
And now
slip down
it
that.
right. It is like, do we not pay attention and know what's going on? No, because it's not in our interest, right? Oh no, that's not important to talk about right now because it doesn't bring any money, right?
Oh,
Everybody is worried about money and political power. How about we worry about the things that we walked into public service for and lift up the little people and make sure that they have a chance, that they have the same shot that we have. And
yeah.
guess what? That they can pull up a chair at this table one day and they can represent the people that feel like them.
Wait,
But
before we leave this topic too, I want to make sure that people are aware that John Lafredo, during that rent control business where we were trying to get the referendum, um, he was given, and this is public records because it's the ELEC. Any election, and this was an
right,
election for rent control, basically special election, and he took a donation from the National Association of Realtors to his campaign for this, an LLC he set up. That's a limited liability corporation set up,
right.
and for close to $100,000. It was about 80,000.
Mm. And
So
and you know what? And you know who lost? You know who lost? The residents.
was that who lost?
The residents.
Of course, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
but
But see,
people don't think
but
to go to the ELEC, and look these records up. And the ELEC has had the
right.
budget like sliced.
Well, let me absolutely right, and we wonder why, right? And then things like Oprah has been gutted. We talk about not having money. We talk about there being all of these deficits, but we took $8 million, coupled with that Oprah bill, and not only took away our rights, but we used 8 million taxpayer dollars to do so. To say that, oh, you can no longer see what we're doing. You can't see our text messages and our emails. Oh, but wait, we're just doing this so that corporations don't take advantage. Well, guess what? They have a bigger advantage now, and they're still going to be able to get the information, but people like us can't get the information.
Won't be
But
able to get it. And I just as a journalist, I needed to file Oprah requests all the time. And if it was for about a meeting that was held improperly, there's an Open Public Meetings Act. I hope it's still
right,
intact. Um, but they've all been eroded. Um, but under in that circumstance, um, I had no one to help me with it. I had to write it myself when I which is part of that whole mechanism, the Open Public Meetings Act. Um,
mhm,
but if that organization doesn't side with me, I have to hire my own lawyer, and we're going for
Right.
station ID.
And don't submit too many over requests because you might get sued with your tax dollars by the government.
This is true.
Can't make it up.
And the thing is, people, all of this makes people that much having that much time, little time to worry about these things and track them
Mhm.
down and look them up. So
Yep.
that's why you need a free press.
Yes. So
and
thank
good
you for what you do.
politician. So I think the office is studios is speaking to us. Up. I don't know what the signal is. We didn't.
I think that's time, but we just started having fun.
Yes, yes. Well, we're not going off. It's oh wait, is it? Oh, it's 8 to. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, please, Doral, you have to come on again and again and again. You hear me?
Yes, whenever you like me to come, I'm willing to do so.
Please stay in touch, Daryl, and I'm gonna say au revoir.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
À la misère, pour un jeune garçon, pas le travail, l'épito fait you. Ou cuitiri, ou pas jamais moi, maï moulin, ba moi li pas bokite. 12 graines banane, sous complet stomac moi. Aïe, 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 maman chérie moi, yon petit pitié pour moi. Mande au pardon, pas fait me passer misère. Depuis le matin, on lève au sorti, le retourner, ton acquis l'autre matio. C'est you là, n'en des bagailles, bab j'aime qu'à expliquer. C'est moi connais, c'est moi connais. C'est moi connais, ça capé fait me subir comme ça, messieurs.
Call Mosquito Joe for a professional mosquito barrier.
Même l'intérêt des étrangers, l'idée claire que nous pral partager, yon bagay sérieux. Mal besoin le responder, retenir si à yon messager. Pour me connaître que nous pral embarquer, nous c'est des noms qui paraît. Parti m'exagérer, parce que ici on joue d'avant ou c'est exactement votre style là qui veut me croire qu'à fidèle. Son occasion qui présente et moi pas voulais faire courater parce que si moi ta ouais on a l'homme qu'on est ma malheureux. Bienvenue félicité Gomet la richesse
Bonté. Bonsoir mesdames, bonsoir mesdemoiselles, messieurs, bonsoir.
Maintenant on va danser. Notre plus belle bagaille que ça.
Nous, exactement le vendredi 28 juin 2024. Yon année cap de gingolé la tikal batikal. Aïe aïe aïe
Aïe aïe aïe aïe, c'est pas parole menti. Mon vie était comme tu étais, pour nous pour va pour nous deux. Tant t'as recommencé, pour y d'ailleurs pour nous jouer. C'est pour dire moi l'on t'a pleuré, qui côté on s'est condamné. Mon vie nous aller à deux, pour nous revisiter. Qu'on s'habille, la femme folie d'amour.
peut-être moins parti.
Avec expérience, contre l'autre nègre sans compétence, on pas besoin de faire réticence, mais qu'on m'a faut importance. On pas d'accord c'est un attend, moi t'es nous avec patience, que moi des soif pour longtemps, libre droit des aides observant. Oh,
L'amour ça.
c'est lui du site. Bien bon. Musique.
Yeah. Woo.
Ça c'est affaire.
La femme. Woo. Go boy. Rodo. Moussa. Essayez comprendre ça qui passe. Oh. Qui mène là. Essayez comprendre ça qui passe. Ouais, boss, qui mène là. Pas moi raison. Moi pour aller. Yeah. Expliquer ça qui va me confiance.
Mais qu'on me laisse moi te réserver. En bon bien te couvrir zone quand t'es marré.
Les ignorants pas où sembler.
Pas qu'il y a sa licence.
Non rendez-vous au moins. Dabadabadab.
Rien que triste, oui. La portée partout, année qui rivait. On a souhaité la raisonner. fait n'attendait pareillement. Oui, une boulot, tout cœur réconcilié. C'est bon, sa belle coutume depuis longtemps. Bénédiction ancienne, belle bagaille, c'est coutume depuis longtemps. C'est joie, respect, c'était 1er janvier à la Yongonjo.
Chaque année, la famille chrétienne catholique dans Asbury Park, New Jersey, rassemblée dans l'église Maman Miséricorde là. Dans le cadre de campagne traditionnelle, côté tout catholique, mettez main pour aider paroisse là. L'église catholique Mont Carmel pral changer figure. Samedi 6 juillet 2024, à partir de 6h du soir jusqu'à minuit, dans le fundraising, nous avons mangé, nous avons joué théâtre et nous avons dansé avec le groupe invité pour l'animation Le Vocal Reset Band. Nous sommes au cafétéria de l'école Mont Carmel, 1221 First Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Ticket $50, VIP $100. Communauté haïtienne dans l'église Maman Miséricorde là. Invitez-nous année ça encore. Dans un gros gala traditionnel pour mettre paroisse là camper sous 2 pieds. Chrétiens catholiques, réservez espace VIP nous dans 732 895 40 35. 732 775 10 56. Chaque année, n'a fait plus effort. Chaque année, l'église noire, top catholique Mont Carmel, a grandi. Non, non, grand-maître là.
Voilà, ça c'est sport qui fait pour et activité qui fait dans l'église Mont Carmel samedi qui donc c'est pas samedi demain, samedi 6. Et bien que sport là est catholique seulement invité, mais par contre bon si pas catholique, si me aller tout parce que sport là dit catholique, oui pour catholique, ouais, catholique. Tout de même nous invitons tout le monde à aller participer et encourager et paroisse ça qui pour et congrégation haïtienne était jam parce que nous connaissons déjà et surtout expérience qui gagnera du bonne nouvelle et pour capable kembe une institution pour capable kembe organisation li demander l'argent et c'est j'ai fait ça nous croyons que chrétien dans l'église Mont Carmel yo ça ne peut bien comme ça chrétien dans l'église Mont Carmel yo inviter tout le monde à participer dans grande fête ça qui va être faite le 6 juillet prochain dans local auditorial dans auditorial l'église dans auditorium église Montcarmel côté yo pral recevoir toute communauté a, et puis c'est là tout yo te recevoir et Alan Carvé année passée qui était une gros belle fête. Nous souhaitons tout le monde prendre ça à cœur, aller participer ensemble avec chrétien ça yo dans local ça dans belle fête ça que yo toujours fait chaque année une façon pour ramasser et tcho pour supporter l'église là.
Chaque année, la famille chrétienne catholique dans Asbury Park, New Jersey, rassemblée dans l'église Maman Miséricorde là. Dans le cadre de campagne traditionnelle, côté tout catholique, mettez main pour aider paroisse là. L'église catholique Mont-Carmel pral changer figure. Samedi 6 juillet 2024, à partir de 6h du soir jusqu'à minuit, dans le fundraising, nous avons mangé, nous avons joué théâtre et nous avons dansé avec le groupe invité pour l'animation Le Vocal Reset Band. Nous sommes au cafétéria de l'école Mont-Carmel, 1221 First Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Ticket $50, VIP $100. Communauté haïtienne dans l'église Maman Miséricorde là. Invitez-nous année ça encore. Dans un gros gala traditionnel pour mettre paroisse là camper sous deux pieds. Chrétiens catholiques, réservez espace VIP nous dans 732 895 40 35. 732 775 10 56. Chaque année, nous avons fait plus d'efforts. Chaque année, l'église noire, top catholique Mont-Carmel, a grandi. Non, non, grand-maître là.
L'état pour yon action toile. Demandez le bel petit musique qui est capable de faire mon penser, qui est capable de faire mon dame. Nous écrit pour tout le monde et surtout pour les amoureux qui souffrir, qui crier pour y accorder la grâce. Servir avec la foi. Dans la rue, pas connaître, même saluer, pas saluer, oublier, souvent la prière. Musique douce sans oreille, bébé. Aïe, pour pourrir encore, ti boubou là. Musique douce, la senti, bébé. Musique chaud, encore, ti boubou là. Apprendre à vivre, respecter les musiciens, mariage libre, n'a pas le artiste, son vieux défaut, pour appeler le monde quitter, c'est pour mourir, yo te gagne tant ouais valeur.
Et comme nous connaissons ces derniers vendredis mois, ces dernières émissions pour mois juin, alors nous prenons la musique nous net avec des musiques rétro. La musique que nous t'es contendé, qu'on dansait, parents nous t'es contendé. D'ailleurs sur 88.fm, c'est Connexion 88. Nous là chaque vendredi 8h 10h. Alors, ça, même j'en ai fait des mères 2 fois dans Kilti, pas non. Dimanche, mais fait des peliers tout. Ouais, mon papa parler de ça même.
Je n'ai pas changé.
Ah, je n'ai pas changé.
Je suis toujours ce jeune homme étranger qui t'écrivait des romances, qui t'inventais des dimanches qui te faisaient voyager. Je n'ai pas changé, je suis toujours ce garçon un peu fou qui te parlait d'Amérique. Je n'étais pas assez riche pour t'amener à ton tour. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. Toujours le même parfum léger, toujours le même
9h05.
petit sourire qui en dit long sans vraiment le dire. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. J'avais envie de te protéger, de te garder, de t'appartenir. J'avais envie de te revenir. Je n'ai pas changé, je suis toujours l'apprenti baladin qui t'écrivait des romances qui commençaient par je t'aime, qui finissaient par aimer. Je n'ai pas changé, je prends toujours le chemin qui me plaît. Le seul chemin sur la terre à réussir à me plaire, celui qu'ensemble on suivait. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. Toujours le même parfum léger, toujours le même petit sourire qui en dit long sans vraiment le dire. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. J'avais envie de te protéger, de te garder, de t'appartenir. J'avais envie de te revenir. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. Toujours le même parfum léger, toujours le même petit sourire qui en dit long sans vraiment le dire. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. J'avais envie de te protéger, de te garder, de t'appartenir. J'avais envie de te revenir. Mais toi non plus, tu n'as pas changé. Toujours le même parfum léger.
Moi tande yorele li El Shaddai, moi tande yorele li Adonai, moi tande yorele li Emmanuel. Wale wapel éternel, bon Dieu l'omniprésent, li tout côté, l'omnipotent, li tout puissant. Jéhovah Shalom, Dieu de paix, li dim la toujours là, les moineaux tracas, li femme promesse là, oui c'est lui qui est le chemin.